Welcome to New York City, the Empire State, where the entire state is trying to acquire cake. You either buying or you supplying weight. Where the unarmed blacks get shot down by the Jakes. It's time to educate and separate. Heavy from the
good to see you.
I'm happy to be here.
Absolutely. Appreciate you, man. Yesterday, great show.
Thank you.
You know, did what you did. One thing I wanna jump right into it because a lot of people know and a lot of people don't know. Some people say, like, I remember Mysonne, you know, back in the day it was like the hottest thing. But then there was a break. People don't know why that break happened. Like where did he go? Then he popped back up. What happened after that? Like,
I got signed to Violator in 1998, and that's when I did that track. I did that track like late 1999, mid 1999, and in the summer of 1999, I went to jail. I got sentenced to 7 to 14 years for armed robbery, and so I did 7 years in the time. So as soon as that verse dropped, probably like 2 weeks later, I had a long trial for armed robbery, and I've never heard the song in the street. I never even, you know what I'm saying, never even experienced it. A lot of people, it was dudes that was coming to prison like, yo, this is my shit, this is my favorite verse, like, well, but I never actually was in New York and actually felt the crowd saying it or none of that.
Running around in New York, and when you got that deal at that time, what was it like when you had to go away? Like, what was it?
It was hard, man. You know, coming from the Bronx and the inner cities and just struggling to make it out the ghetto, man. And you just trying to find a way out. And it's like right when I found my way out, you know, one minute I was at the Super Bowl, I was in Miami and sitting in the studio with Mace and Allen Iverson and, you know, enjoying life. And then the next minute I was just in a prison cell, like, you know, literally coming from the bottom, being somewhere at the top, being held as like pretty much the next up and coming star that was supposed to be in the industry to be in the prison cell. You know? So it was a hard transition. It was like, I couldn't believe it. Actually, it was shock. Literal shock. You know, you don't think that, you know, especially when there's a crime you didn't commit, you don't think you're going to jail, and not for 7 years. I'm like, what? Like 7? Like I don't got no record or nothing. Damn, I'm doing 7 years in jail for something like this. So it was hard.
It was hard.
Can I piggyback off for a second? Because there's a lot of our youth that's like, you know, that's inspiring to be like the next legends and stuff like that, and going through trials and tribulations. So at the age that you were at, you said you were 20 when that song dropped. You still adolescent growing up. Like when you get hit with that, like what are you facing as you're walking into the cell? Like how do you keep yourself sane knowing that you had all this all these opportunities, and it's like now it's like gone, or you feel like it might be gone? What was your mentality going into it, and how did you like stay afloat through them 7 years?
Well, it was multiple things that was going through my mind. You know, the first thing was, you know, I understood that I had to maintain a level of, you know, dignity and respect for myself. So when I walked in there, I was like, all right, I already know that to some degree, to some people, I'm gonna be a target. You know what I'm saying? So that's the defense, first thing. And then the second thing was, I don't want to adapt to prison. Because when I started getting in there, I seen it was a way of life that was like, it was savagery. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people, and I realized, I say to myself all the time, I would have went to jail in my teens, I might have been institutionalized. You know, if I would have went to jail prior to actually experiencing, like actually getting a chance to experience different parts of the world and seeing what other things life have to offer, I would have been institutionalized. And that's what happens with a lot of young kids. They get in jail in their teens and they adapt to that way of life. And that's the only level of notoriety and fame or whatever you have is in prison. They get known as, oh, he busts his gun, he don't play, you know, he the leader of the gang here. So that's what they gravitate to that. But me coming out of the society and actually experiencing and being around people of higher stature, being around people in the music industry, being around good, you know, real OGs that had experienced it and was giving me knowledge and all of those things. When I went in there, I think I was a little more prepared for that. You know, they explained to me that it wasn't, because from my communities, people tend to glorify prison. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you want to be quote unquote real, then you gotta do something in prison. You gotta come home and have some level of resume. And fortunately for me, I had OGs that had done all of that and was able to tell me that it really wasn't nothing. You know what I'm saying? I seen them, people who was street legends and millionaires come home, was changing their life and moving in a different direction because it was like it wasn't what it was supposed to be. It wasn't cause. So me going in jail with those type of people with my background and that type of understanding, I started moving different. I'm like, I'm not adapted to prison. Prison's gonna have to adapt to me because this is not my reality. This is not my life. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to beat anybody in here. I give you respect. So I expect the same respect back. I move on my own. I deal with the people who have like minds and have the same moral compass as me, and put myself, surround myself by people of good nature. You know what I'm saying? So you see him like this is one of my friends that I met in prison. You know what I'm saying? He was in prison with me, and we just immediately bonded because we had the same principles and morals. We started working out, doing things. So I would just always try to attach myself to people and things that was positive. You know, I worked out in jail. I played basketball. I wrote rhymes.
Are you nice?
I was. You know, my knees don't work. You know what I'm saying? But I was definitely nice. But
one thing too, like, you know, you're in the midst of the industry. Like, people know who you are. You're a face, and one thing, like, and you know, the streets talk. So, but you never heard anything. My son went to prison. My son told my son, and I know that you didn't commit the crime because I remember listening to an interview when you was talking about it. With that on your shoulders and that, all that in your mind, you going in knowing that you didn't do it, you get 7 years, and at the same time, you stick to your morals and your beliefs. How was it coming out knowing that the people that you did that for didn't give you in return that love and that support after you came home? How was that?
I mean, it was a rude awakening, you know, for the most part. When you're sitting in there and you realize that you sacrificed a lot, you know what I'm saying? When you pretty much was the breadwinner of your family, pretty much of everybody's family. And I remember Mace coming to visit me on Rikers Island. And he was just sitting there and he was just like, yo, he said, how you get in jail? He's like, I'm saying, like, you the breadwinner, you the money. How did the niggas let you go to jail? That don't make sense. Like, you was supposed some of the people around you, whatever niggas supposed to step up and do whatever, because you was gonna be able to take that. How they gonna take care of you? Right. It don't really make sense. And you know, but I said, and I just looked at him and was like, you know, the cards is for what they are. I still have to stand on my own principles and morals, because unfortunately I was in the streets. You know, prior to whatever I did things. You know, sometimes I didn't get caught. Most of the things that I did in the street, I didn't get caught. Somebody else might have been sitting in jail for something I did. So I believe everything pretty much is karma. You know, so I dealt with my own karma. I understood what I got into when I was in the streets. I understood those things. Those things come with that. So moving forward, I said, understanding I don't want these realities for me. This is not something that I'm comfortable with, being in prison and being away from my family and just pretty much not being able to evolve and grow as a human being. So I said, you know, I changed my mindset. But thinking about those people, you know, it is what it is. Everybody has their own level of karma, what they got to deal with. I did mine. I stood up how I felt it was necessary, you know, just on my own morals and my own principles, and I stood by that. And I just said, you know, I'm gonna go, when I return to society, I just have to capitalize. I have to evolve. I have to continue to do the things, and just can't let those things, you know, hinder me, because a lot of times that could hinder you. You sit in jail and you just angry about all of this, and you looking back, people lose their mind. You know, they start doing all types. I seen dudes go to jail and get so caught up and be so angry, they end up hurting somebody, getting more time in jail, getting hurt. It's like, nah, you can't allow that energy to become you.
Right. So I ask this real quick. Do you think because of your past experience that you strive even more to put like a positive message to the youth? Because from my experience and watching you do rap, from what I've seen, it's very more conversational, has a message. And I was talking about this a little bit last night after the show, but it's very, to me, intent based. Like it causes you to think before you do the wrong thing. So
Yeah, that's intentional, you know, because when I make music or speak or do anything dealing with youth, I put myself back at being a teenager. You know what I'm saying? I say I was young, I knew everything, you know, I was very strong-minded, very bullheaded. I had to do everything my way. And I said, how would someone have to approach me to make me pay attention? You know what I'm saying? What would I have gravitated to at that time? What kind of individual had my ear? You know what I'm saying? So when I talk to somebody, I try to put myself in that mind frame and say, okay, I can't come to him because he reminds me of me. I can't preach to him. I can't tell him, you know, you can't do this. And no, I gotta teach him within his ignorance. You know what I'm saying? You gotta teach people within the ignorance. So you gotta surround, like when
say that one more time.
you gotta teach people within the ignorance. Like when Lauren said, I add a motherfucker so the ignorant niggas hear me, that was one of the realest lines in the world, because some people only gravitate to the world. I get a lot of flack, you know, being in the activism world and civil rights and doing these things, I get a lot of flack for using the word nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, why do you have to use that word? And I said, unfortunately, there's a demographic that word appeals to. And those are the people I need to save. I don't need to save the people that already know the history of our people and they already reached a level of knowledge. I'm trying to save the people that's the word they use every other word. So I surround a bunch of knowledge with those words. I put nigga in between a bunch of things that's gonna bring you out of your, you know, out of your cocoon and out of your situation. So if you focused on the word nigga, that's your problem. Because the people I'm trying to save, that's their language. I need to save the people that speaks the word nigga. The reason why you can't reach to them, the reason why you need me is because you don't speak that language. So you can't tell me how to communicate with somebody that you obviously can't reach. So that's what it is for me. It's just like, you know, it's like cherry flavored, cough drops, I tell people all the time. A lot of people just don't want to taste the medicine. But so they take the cherry because they don't taste the medicine, but it's still healing them. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is for me. It's like I gotta come to you as, they say Jesus came to the people as the people. Because if he had came another way, they would have just been scared or whatever. So you gotta come to the people you're trying to say. These people in the hood, they don't, half of them don't go to school, they ain't reading, they got a lingo on the street. So you gotta utilize that lingo to gravitate to them, to make them pay attention to what it is that you're saying.
Before we get into the activist side of you and everything, for the people that don't understand, because when you went to prison, Rough Rider, I just started listening to music by Rough Rider. I don't know how old I was at the time, but the time of music is different, if you can agree. And I kind of want people to understand what it was like back then, because I heard back then it was like the time to be in it. So what's the difference between then and now, and how did you have to kind of like mold yourself to kind of adapt to the times as you came back out?
That was a process.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because I came from a time when it was very lyrical, it was very substance, it was very intentional, it was very skill based. You know, the artists that when I was in DMX, Jay-Z, Nas, the Locks, Mace, Biggie, you think about it, Capone, they all gravitated to, they all had a level of skill that was unique. It was unique people, there was a difference. Everybody had a difference, but there was a skill level also attached to that. Big Pun, like if you think about the era of music in the mid-90s, it was the era of stars and lyrics, and you know, you had to have something different. So I came home with that mind state, like I know I'm lyrical, I know I can say things that nobody else can say, and that was fading away when I came home. You know, it was about, they want you to be very simple. They need simple, you know what I'm saying? They need less words. They need more cadence. It needs to be more melodic. So that was a process for me. You know, I was like, what are you talking about? And you know what I'm saying? I'm like, what is this they're listening to? You know what I'm saying? So that was a process for me. I had to take myself out. I had to get my mind out of, you know, I always said it to myself, I never want to be the dude in the club and with bell bottoms and fish tank shoes. I don't want to be that old dude. I don't want to be him that's so out of touch with the reality that we're dealing with, that you're not able to evolve and able to communicate with everybody. So I took myself and I said, look, I'm not going to fight against, what even people might say evolution, but I think music has dissolved. It's definitely, we're moving further and further away from consciousness. So I had to put myself in a situation, and I had to say, okay, either you going to evolve or you going to die. That's it. It ain't no, and you can't fight against the current. You got to go with the current. Right. But you got to maintain. You got to figure out how do you put what you got, what they want. So that was a process, just finding your niche and just constantly trying different things. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't, but it was a process until I felt like I found my niche. I felt like I was able to provide, take the same beats that they love, and then figure out how do I master them, how do I come across to where it doesn't sound dated, you know what I'm saying? But I'm doing my own thing, and it's still lyrical, but it still has fun, because a lot of these people, they just want to have a good time. They don't want to think, you know what I'm saying? So when you put too much in it, it causes them to have to pay attention. So there's songs that you got to give them where they don't have to pay attention, where they can just say something real simple and it's real catchy, and you go, and then and once you get them there, then you can give them a couple of bars to where they're paying attention. There was a process. It was like, I found my own little niche, and I started realizing. Then I started realizing that with social media, most of these artists, they don't care about. Music is not skill based. It's about whether we believe you or not. You know what I'm saying? Like if you listen to a lot of these artists, they have fan bases because they buy them. They don't really care much about their music that much. You know what I'm saying? So once they buy you and they believe what you are, then they pay attention. They're gonna go whatever you put out. You put out anything. Like I was watching the Tekashi 6ix9ine interview, and he was like, do you take your craft serious? He said, not really at all. I go in there, I say the stupidest stuff sometimes. Like he said, you listen to the Fifi song. This way, he really said this. He said, you listen to the Fifi song. He said, I should give me Fifi. I got wet. Well, he said, I'm like, how do I say some stupid shit like that? He said, I know that Kendrick and J. Cole be like, you know what I'm saying? But it's that honesty that makes you gravitate to it. So I wanted to be mad, but I'm like, I can't be mad because he ain't doing nothing. If you like some shit that I say that don't make sense, and this is what you like, and I know that I'm really not that good at it, you can't be mad at me. You know what I'm saying? So I can't be mad at him. I gotta understand what he's doing, but I have to challenge the consumer to a certain degree. Like, are we gonna make artists believe that it's okay not to even put any level of thought or anything into your music? Like, that's what we going to, like, hold them to some level of responsibility and accountability. So, it's just that you gotta merge all that. You gotta understand that a lot of people don't want to wake up, so you gotta trick them. People don't want to think, so you gotta trick them into thinking.
The worst part is, it's like, just going off based off what you just said, like, these artists don't understand how much people actually value and believe them, like, they want to be them, like, how much people you see dyeing their hair rainbow colors and all the, you know what I'm saying? So when you say responsibility, it's just like, I have to understand that, like, yes, this is a I don't want to say a game, but this is a hobby to y'all. But there's people who are take your hobby and they want to make this an NBA. You know what I'm saying? Like, they want to make this the real thing. But just based off of that, I think everything goes in cycles. I think, like, the lyricism and like this form of music. And do you ever feel like it's gonna get back to your time where you could just be like, hip hop is really back?
I don't know if it's. I think it's a possibility. I think we're moving in a good direction. Okay. I think you have artists who do push the envelope, who are very lyrical, and figured out that balance between entertainment and lyrics. I think so. It's moving. I think when you look at Cole, you look at Kendrick, you know what I'm saying. You look at Big Sean. There's a lot of they're lyrical. They just figure out how to do it within the genre of music that is prevalent now. You know what I'm saying. So once you make that, you realize it's still music. You know what I'm saying. Because hip hop was started off just being a level of expression, and it was still musical, but it was more about who could say the most difficult and the most mind-challenging things, and who had that level of skill. So now we realize that a lot of people just want to party when they listen to music. A lot of these kids unfortunately are on drugs, you know, so they don't want to really think, it's a feeling. Music to them is more of a feeling. Like, I was talking to Beanie Siegel, and he was like, yo, it's like blues now. He said, it's like, it was never a word. With blues, it was just the feeling of it. He said, so this music is, I compare it to blues.
They don't care what
you know
you
what I'm saying?
say.
It don't matter, they don't care what you say, it's the feeling of it. You know what I'm saying? So, that when you got it, it's just about adaptive, man. It's just about understanding, listening, studying your craft. When you study, you listen. Okay, you know, it's like what LeBron did. LeBron studied the greats. You know, each one of them was different, and he added a part of all of them to his game. He added it with his own natural attributes. He looked at Jordan. You could tell that he watched Kobe, he watched Jordan, and he modeled certain parts. Then he watched Magic. He modeled. He took all of those things with his natural ability to create who LeBron is. You know what I'm saying? And that's what this thing is about. That's what anything that you're trying to master, that you call your craft, is about. It's about you studying something that's already great and already winning, and then you say, okay, that works. Let me add that to my repertoire. You know, because the more. That's why it is for me. Like, any level of music or anything you put me in, I can thrive. You put me in with a spitter, I'm a spit. If you put me in just making music with a simple chorus, I can make a simple chorus. If you put me in freestyle battle, I can free. Any level of this thing that you put me in, I can do, because I mastered my craft. You know, I take, you know what I'm saying? It's just a plus for me, you know. So.
That's definitely deep.
Yeah, so I wanted to kind of go straight back into like what he's been doing now.
But before you go back in there, I just want to ask him this one question, because the industry, right? And this is deep, because I think about this a lot, and I follow you, so I hear you talk about certain things. But one thing about the industry is that how long, your opinion, how long you think it's going to take for us as a culture, right? Because hip hop's supposed to be our culture, but it's not owned by. We don't control it. Black and brown people don't control it, but it's like we need someone. So the people who own hip hop or control this industry, the music and all that, it's like every time something happens, we either crying about it, or we mad, or we upset, but we don't build our own foundation. What is it going to take, or is it even possible for us to say we built our own, basically, platform on a bigger scale, and now when we go to the BET Awards and we go to the awards and we don't get nominated, we don't got to cry or complain? What is it going to take for us to have our own shit?
It's going to take a long time, and it's going to take a joint effort. It's a lot. It's a mind state. Jay-Z said about Tidal. You don't ask who runs Spotify. You never seen a nigga at YouTube. You don't know none of these people. You invest your money. You just rent the thing. You like the service. You spend your money. When I do it gotta be some game. It's a gimmick. He trying to get over. Why we don't see ourselves in that light? So until we start to change that mentality, it's gonna be hard for us to build our own. It's not that we don't have the resources. It's just that we've already been mentally enslaved to think that the white man's ice is cold. You know what I'm saying? No matter what it is. It's a process. It's going to be hard to break that stick. It's people like with the NFL. And I'm like, how do you watch something that you know blatantly disrespects you? Right. How do you watch something that, because a man said, yo, you know what, I just want to make a friendly gesture before the game to bring light to the fact that police brutality exists and that black people are being killed every day. I'm not hurting nobody. I'm playing my football, and they remove you from the game. Tell you they start making rules to just target you. Yeah. You know, any other issues that happen in the world, they support it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? When it was LGBT rights, they went up there and made commercials. They invested their money in it. Why wouldn't you do the same thing to better community and police, relations? Why wouldn't you create conversation? Why wouldn't you have football players and all of them sitting down saying, look, we want to create better police and community affairs. We're investing our money. We're going to hold these seminars in each city where we come there and sit down and try to build. What's wrong with that? Why wouldn't that be something? But instead, you want to silence the people from talking about it. You understand what I'm saying? So because it's black people that's talking about it. So you feel like we just expendable. Our lives don't really matter because you just need to shut up. We're giving you money, shut up and play. If it was something that appeal to a white audience, you will be all for it, because that's what you continue to do. So this is the mind state. And then you ask people like, why would you still watch NFL? Well, you know, I don't really care about that. You know, they ain't protesting, so I'm just gonna watch it. But don't you understand the power that you have? Don't you understand that if you stop watching it, then they can't give you, if we stop watching it, we make up 70% of the game.
Yeah.
You know, so we make up a large percent of the viewers. So if we all utilize that power to say, okay, we gonna all stand on this one premise and this one principle at the same time, to let them know that they have to respect us. And then you will be able to watch football if you want, because the people will come back and say, all right, look, what do we got to do to make you happy?
Right.
Our mind is, a dude told me, swear to God, I was on Facebook and a dude was arguing me back. He's like, yo, you know, your protest is not working. The NFL actually made more money last year than they did. And I said, that's a lie. He said, he put up an article that stated how the NFL actually had more money, and it was based off the deal that they made 5 years ago, because they still being paid. So what they talking about was a deal that was made. I'm like, you trying to make us believe that what we doing our work, because I'm 100% sure that the ratings have fallen. I'm 100% sure that the merchandise has fallen. All these things, I can guarantee you. I got numbers to show those things. But you bringing me a stat that doesn't even have anything to do with the protest we did, is based off prior viewerships. That's how they was able to receive that deal. And you trying to make us believe that it's not working. You dangerous to me, because you'll tell somebody some information that's not factual and then try to push it off. It's based on, you know, technically what you're saying makes sense, because it's just like Melo. Melo had one of the biggest contracts. He had $100 million contract. Right now he just signed for $2 million, because they know as your production goes down and down, your next. Now let's see what happens on the next go around. Because when they look at the NFL and say, yo, the viewership is all, we're gonna give y'all probably half of what we gave y'all. And now they gotta figure out how do they work with us. Don't try to tell us what we doing ain't working. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to be with us. You say, oh, it's not working. And you put up these false stats. You know, that's what they do all the time. It's like what the president does about, I've created black jobs. No, you didn't create black jobs. Over the 8 years of what Obama was doing, it was already growing. You was able to capitalize off what he had already set into motion, and you were able to say, oh, it's been up 7%. No, it's been up, or implemented any law, anything that's gonna give black people more jobs. So, you know what I'm saying? These be false statistics that you don't know, because you just look at what they print, and then you don't understand the backstory. So they make us believe that we don't have power, and we fall for it. And so that's why we don't do stuff. We like, yo, it ain't gonna work anyway, so we might as well not do it. But in real life, if the football players just had to say, you know what, we just not gonna play.
Yo, and that's what I want to ask. We have the
But
power.
that's
Exactly.
It's a mind state that people don't want to do. If you think about in the Montgomery, when they had the bus boycotts and all that thing, black people all understood that they had to make a sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? People were like, yo, you don't watch football, you know, somebody ain't gonna get paid. You think it's right? I'm like, everything is about sacrifice. So you might have to sacrifice your paycheck this year so that your kids can eat for the rest of their life. You understand what I'm saying? Because what happens is they slowly taking away your human rights. So you making it harder for the kid that's trying to go to NFL now. When he get in there, he ain't gonna have any rights. He gonna be trying to work for scraps. Because they slowly just taking it back, all the rights that you have slowly but surely, because you're not paying attention. They say if you throw a frog in the water at 360 degrees, he gonna jump out. But if you put him in the water with room temperature and slowly turn him thing, he will boil himself to death. He won't even get out, because his temperatures just normally increase, and that's what happens with us. They slowly taking back your civil rights. All the rights that you fought for, they just slowly say, okay, now you can't really protest no more. Okay, you can't really do that no more. Oh, you can't do it that way. You can't wear this. You can't say this. The police can do this to you. And we slowly just start to say, okay, I get it. Until next thing you know, they slowly ripped everything from you again. To make America great again is that premise. It's getting you back in line to feel inferior and believe that it makes sense. If you look at our communities, most of the people don't have nothing. You know what I'm saying? So they just trying to figure out, I just want to worry about me. And they've divided us. Everything is me. It was never like that. Even when we had nothing, it was a unified front. You know what I'm saying? It was about family. It was about the next door neighbor. They took the neighbor out of the neighborhood and just made it hood.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's no more neighbor. You don't care about what's going on with your neighbor. I think that when we get back to the premise of saying we are one, and we start saying that we're gonna buy back our communities and fix our communities instead of leaving our communities, then we get that mind state. When you start seeing success as something other than just a drug deal on the corner, then you can be that. If a football player lived next door to you, or a lawyer lived next door, or a doctor lived next door, or all these things start living next door, then you get a different idea of what success looked like other than somebody, because when I came up, the only, visuals of a successful person I had was a drug dealer. He the only person that had a car, he had the nice chains, he had all the girls. So I wanted to be that. So when we start bringing those prominent people back to our community that say, okay, I want to live in a community, I want to build this community around me. We going to where they already successful, and they don't even want you there. You got to fight to be there. You are outcast there. You feel like you made something because you weren't integrated into society. They don't even want you there. You fighting every minute to be accepted. Why don't you fix up where you from, around the people that understand you, with your own culture, and build that? We don't have that mind state because it's been taken from us.
I think that's really hard to do that too, because we're in the time and age where, like, if you grow up around someone in a similar situation and then you try to elevate and try to give back, they look at you as a joke or something. You feel me? So like, because
you want me to tell you why? Because a lot of it don't be genuine. A lot of these people that talk about elevating your back, it don't really be genuine. It be for people to say you did something. Like when you look at what LeBron doing, it's a genuine. It's genuine. People are able to gravitate to him. Like I used to go on tour with DMX. DMX could walk to any hood and just go to the hood. He would build with the community. He would give out money. He would help certain people because it was genuine. He didn't want to assimilate to something else. He wanted the people from where he came from to love him. You know what I'm saying? When you look at LeBron, his mind state is, I really have the ability to change something. Man, open a school where you can go free and give you money, all these things, guarantee you college. Like if everybody did that, if all of these artists and athletes did that, you know the difference it would make. He didn't open the school outside of he opened it where he was from to give the people where he from. He just said, look, we're gonna take you out of your community and build something good somewhere else. So you already say that where you from ain't good. You understand what I'm saying? Just think about that. If you gotta go and leave where you from to do something good, you can't see anything good in where you from. Why not create something good where you from and start making that mind state rub off that we better than this. You know what I'm saying? Continue to build that and continue to build that. And then we start to react that way. When people see different things, like I had to leave my community to understand that it was better things. Came back with the mind state, but when you come back with the mind state, they think that you think you're better than them because they haven't seen it, or you're not able to bring that reality back to them. So why not come back with the mind state and start to build that model where you from?
Powerful words. Man, listen, y'all take notes.
Please pay attention.
For real, man. This is Mysonne, the general in the flesh.
I definitely want him to talk a little bit. And I was informed of this. Shout out to my dog, Bria Baker. I mean, you work hand in hand with her. Yes, and that's my dog, like for real. Like me and her that had mad like political conversations, and she probably one of the smartest people I know. I tell her that all the time. But can you please tell people about like what you guys are doing and like trying to like really bring awareness to it, and then how we can help like as individuals that just want to play a part.
Shout out to Bria Baker. She's part of the Gathering for Justice and Justice League, in which we are an organization based on ending mass incarceration, ending child incarceration, fighting against police brutality, and standing on and fighting for civil rights, for marginalized communities. So that's what we focus on. The Justice League is pretty much the birth child of the Gathering for Justice, which is founded and organized by Harry Belafonte. So in that spirit, that's what we do as the Justice League. We pretty much like the immediate response. Okay. Probably like the youth version of what the Gathering started. And we go out, we protest, we bring light, we challenge officers, we challenge politicians. We immediate response. We go to different states whenever something is happening. We utilize different things. All of us come from different backgrounds. You know, you have Tamika Mallory, who actually brought me into this. She's one of the biggest civil rights leaders of our time. You also have, which is a black woman. She was one of the 4 national co-chairs for the Women's March on Washington, which pretty much was the largest single-day protest in the history.
Wow.
And along with Carmen Perez, who is the executive director of the Gathering for Justice and the founder of the Justice League NYC, and she's a Latina. And then we have Linda Sarsour, who is a Muslim Arab from Brooklyn, that is like a firecracker, and she's one of the biggest civil rights leaders also. So those 3 women are pretty much, they head the organization, you know, and I'm just like, I'm there, you know what I'm saying? I'm leading my own way, you know, they lead and I'm part of the leadership also, but we all have a different dynamic that we bring, you know, and we speak to different crowds, and we form like Voltron to continue to attack issues, to continue to awaken, to enlighten, you know, and that's what we've been doing, and it's been working, you know. And Bria, you know, she works with Carmen. That's like, you know, that's her right hand, Bria, you know. So, and we want to encourage youth, you know. That's the thing that we do. We mentor youth. We continue to bring youth that have that energy, to continue to bring. We want to 17, 16-year-olds that's going to be the next leaders, you know. So we have a lot of young leaders within our organization, because that's what we realize, man, that the people who are directly impacted must be the solution. You know, that's one of our mottos. So that's what we do, man, on a daily basis.
How can we help? How can we bring more awareness? Because like something like that, that's not even going on in Connecticut. That's what we need to do. I'm gonna talk. We need to find.
Listen, get a Justice League Connecticut.
When you do that, please contact us.
Just rate us on this side.
I'm gonna do that. We can work on that. We need different chapters in all, you know, all states and all countries. So that's something that I think that we need to work on, because we only got 2 chapters right now. We got Justice League NYC and Justice League LA right now, so California.
I'm gonna ask this question real quick. Police brutality. You mentioned it before, like the mindset of our people. Do you think that there could be less of that from the togetherness of our people? And then you can tag on what you're gonna say.
Just what I'm thinking is, like, for me, slavery was once a law. Like, that was once a thing. You had to abide by it. That was your thing. So you're a black man, you gotta follow these rules because that white man said it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that police are right or wrong, but I am saying that that's also a law. And for me, just looking at perspective-wise, that law there has to be something implemented where we as black people are not going outside and walking our dogs and then for some reason getting pulled over in our own neighborhoods. But there has to be something. So I don't know if this is exactly the direction we're going, but for me, it's more so, what can we do to protect ourselves and bring awareness? Do we stop reposting these social media things of police brutality? Is it more that when something goes on in your neighborhood, you're up there protesting first and foremost? How do we strategically show that we as black people are coming together to stop this police brutality safely? It's not violently, not going out here and trying to beat up the police, but how can we orchestrate as a group so we protect ourselves?
It's kind of that direction, but like just being effective. Like there has to be a more effective way to do it.
And this is based off your own principle. Like there's no right or wrong answer here. We can talk about this for days, like you said.
Seriously,
so it's just, you know.
Well, I tell people all the time, the system is not broke. You know, it's functioning as it was designed to function.
Right.
America is based off capitalism. Capitalism started off of slavery. We've always been the way that America has made money, on the backs of black people. So when slavery ended, and then they started, you know, they let slaves free. They said, okay, you're free, but they knew they didn't have nowhere to go. So they started the overseers and they created the justice system to lock up the people that didn't have nowhere to go, that was committing crimes. So if you just let me free into the world, say, okay, you can go. Immediately you're gonna gravitate to crime. You're gonna do certain things that are illegal. So what you do is now slavery is legal as long as you're a criminal. So if I put you somewhere and say, don't touch the cheese right there, and just throw you there and don't give you food, I know eventually you're gonna touch the cheese. You know what I'm saying? So it's pretty much like it's an oxymoron. You know what I'm saying? If you look at the projects, it's nothing else you can do but crime in there. Because it's designed that way. It's designed that if everybody in here has nothing and we don't know how to get nothing, we gotta go what we see as the best opportunity to do it. So it's all by design. So when you think about police brutality and you think about why it happens to black people, is because white supremacy is as normal as breathing in America. It's a thought that I have a lot of white friends that I love, you know what I'm saying? And I had to sit there and break this down to them. And then they start really looking and like, damn, those things never happened to me in my community. Like, we have laws in our community that police just drive by, they search you immediately. You can be walking down the block and they just, yo, let me see your ID. That don't happen in white neighborhood. When white people just walking down, it just doesn't happen. So you get little fines, you get jaywalking fines, you get all type of stuff that builds this, you know, your criminal profile, and you normalize a behavior that's not normal. And people have already said, they have been taught, we've been taught that black people are violent and they are criminals. So immediately when you see black people somewhere, that's what comes to your mind. There's gotta be something wrong, especially when they're not in their natural habitat. They somewhere outside of their community, they're doing something wrong here, they don't really belong here. This is what's been trained. And only thing I can say is, what we have to do is build our own. Like, we gotta build, like, if you look at black people, it's reality, a situation. We the only people that don't have our own country, our own culture to where it's set, because I know what you're thinking. If I see you jumping up and down, you're like, yo, I'm like, okay, he doing this thing. But for people who don't understand your culture, don't understand you or anything, to them it's a level of aggression, it's violence. So he's trying to hurt me, because that's what they've been taught. They've been taught to demonize you in a certain way. They don't even see you as human. So that's why it's so easy for these people to harm you. What I was talking about with the black woman is the most devalued creature on this earth. Even the black man can harm her and feel no way. We don't see them as fragile. We don't see them as something that we gotta protect most of the time. You look at an Asian woman, you look at a white woman, you realize if you yell too much, that they're gonna be like, why are you yelling? You know, they don't even, you wanna protect them. You feel like if I hit her, she gonna really hurt herself, and I don't want. You feel that. When you see a black woman, you don't have that mind state. Because they've been taught to be so strong, they had to fight for themselves so long, that you think they can take anything. So if you watch a man punch a black woman in the face, people will laugh at it. They be like, oh, he just punched her in the face, yo, he smacked the shit. But if you see it to a white woman, oh shit, he hurt her. You see him hit a little Asian woman, you feel like, damn, we don't even perceive our people, our women, as fragile. So that, if you got to think about how they view us and them, they view us as the most dangerous creature. They don't even see you as human. So that's why it's so easy for them to hurt you. So if you understand that, you have to create and surround yourself and create your own with the people who value, who understand the way you speak, who understand your culture, who are able to do it. Just like in schools, I have this. Everybody I know has this problem. When they leave the communities, you know, and they do well, and they take their kids, they black kids, to the white school. The white teachers tell them there's something wrong with your kid, or we need to have an evaluation. They have too much in it. Everybody I know have the same. They do it with every one of them, because you know why? Because they're not used to dealing with the energy and the attributes of black people. It's your own culture. So if you had a school full of people who identified with your culture and teachers like us, we would be able to do it, because you were like, I remember I was like that. That was me, he reminded me of me. We gotta start creating our own and teaching us within our attributes and having our own communities. Like when you look at HBCU, the way that an HBCU is set up is nothing like Princeton and Yale. It's a different mind state, it's different cultures. But they're able to excel the same way because they're within their own culture. They feel comfortable. They can go there and do the stomp test and all that. Those things don't happen everywhere else. The way that you party is not, most of the people in their culture don't party that way. So it's looked down upon.
if you go to Asians, if you go to China and you go to Asia, they have their own culture. You know what I'm saying? They come here and they take things that they need from here, but they bring it back to their culture, to what everybody around them identifies. And then what they do is when they migrate here, they find places where all of them are together. You know, in the community in Fort Lee, in New York, it's nothing but a lot of Asians, and they've migrated here and they build. They come there, they have little China, little Italy's. They migrate in places to where their culture is accepted. So everybody there, the police and everything there, is cool with each other. They know how to do this. They got officer friendly. If me and you was a officer and you seen a kid on the street fighting, you gonna come over there and break it up because you remember you was having that same fight. You gonna like, what you doing, man? You gonna have a different conversation. You're not going up there with your gun drawn. Oh, this is a hostile situation. We gotta shoot and kill somebody. If you get into an argument with a dude, you gonna argue and be like, man, go ahead, sit down. Go somewhere. Go ahead, I get it. You know what I'm saying? I do that all the time. I'm in my hood. They get me mad. I might yell and curse at them. I break up a fight like, yeah, what y'all doing? But I ain't trying to kill you. You understand what I'm saying? Because I identify what it is. I understand we done had a couple of drinks. You know what I'm saying? The Irish can have St. Patrick's Day and have a million fights. Nobody ain't going to jail. They break it up, go home.
It's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? It's a reality. The officer, I can break it up, guys. Come on. Because they're officers, they identify with the culture. They remember doing it. So when we gotta create that for us, and it's gonna be hard. And when they say separation, unfortunately, it's gonna take you to separate from people to create your own. And then you can speak from a position of power. You can speak with your own, because we keep saying we need justice or we need freedom. But you can't act for something if you're not speaking from a position of power. Because you keep saying justice or else. What is or else? What are you going to do? You know what I'm saying? You don't. What are you going to do? We don't give you justice. What? You know what I'm saying? Like when they gotta sit down and talk to the kid, the man Kim, nigga, missile man, whatever they call him, or Trump. You gotta talk to him because you understand that he can do something to harm you. You have to have a conversation with him and his people, because he represents them. We don't have nobody that can represent us that way, that can say, listen, you don't respect us, this is what we can do to stop something. Because none of us don't even, people saying, I'm not black, I'm not African, I'm American. Black people say that, like, I'm like, what does that mean? I don't even understand what you're talking about. You understand what I'm saying? So until we start to get that mind state that is us, and we have ours, we can be unified with everybody, but we have to own and have our own culture here that's ours. Everybody else has that but blacks. Everybody else, you look, Asians, Puerto Ricans, they got their own stuff, and then they come here and they come here with their own culture, and they able to make you identify with their culture, and then you can say, oh, I get it. You know, you don't feel as threatened. You know, but we don't have that. So until we create that, it's going to be almost impossible for us to stop police brutality, because we don't have our own. We don't have our own police officer that's policing us. You don't have no power. It's you know, it's like a treadmill. I'm hopeful that eventually we wake up. It seems like we taking steps. People are becoming more aware. So when you're able to sit down and have Oprah and Diddy and LeBron and all these people come to the table and say, look, we got billions and trillions of dollars together. Let's create our own. Let's build our own. Let's build a city to where it shows what our culture looks like. And then we can build a state. Then we can buy our own state that this is what our culture, and then people can assimilate. If you just look at Palestine. The people are going there saying, well, this is our town. This is ours. They bringing every Jew to Palestine and saying, this is ours. And they going there. They bringing their own culture, they bringing their people somewhere and saying, this is ours. Just think about that. Just think about, we can't do that. We can't go back to Africa and say, my ancestors died here. We want you to give us all this. Everybody that's of African descent, come back here. We're going to build our own city. We're going to build our own stuff. We can't do that.
You know what's crazy? The two shout-outs. One, I think it was the NY senator who said he was passing out flyers in his own neighborhood, and a white woman called the police on him, so now he's trying to pass a law, so you can't just call because you feel like it. One, that, and then two, shout out to DJ Esco, just talking about identity of black people. I mean, his story is unfortunate, but if you know about DJ Esco, who's Future tour DJ, they went on tour, and then he got arrested at the airport, and they were trying to pretty much put him under the cell in a different country away. He was probably like a day, fight-wise, a day away from any type of population that he knows. But when he went in there was a divide between the light-skinned Africans and the dark-skinned Africans. And they were asking him, like, what are you? And he was like, I'm black. They're like, no. Like, what are you? Like, so he had to do research and really identify. And we have to do that as black people ourselves. Like, we have to have things where we break down, like, yo, this is where our ancestry comes from. This is where you're, like, so we can go visit these places and get knowledgeable about it. I think that's where something like that would start, like, to get knowledge.
But you have to, when you think about the reality, it's like we was kidnapped as an infant and raised in somebody's household to where you don't even see that person that, just think about this. You know how many times this happens, and they call it Stockholm disease. What happens is, you see a lot of kids that was kidnapped. They never met their parents. Somebody that killed your family, kidnapped you and raised you as their own. So you grew up in that household. The only person you called mother was that person. You're not even able to identify with your original mother. You don't even see the crime that the person who kidnapped, because you've grown to love this person. They nourished you. They're giving you things. You understand? Right now, just imagine right now somebody told you that your mother wasn't your mother and that they stole you from someone. You know how hard it would be for you to detach yourself from that reality and just to say, yo, I gotta detach myself from you. This is wrong. People just say, yo, well, I don't know that. I don't know nothing about that. I can't even focus on that. Mm-hmm. This is what my reality is now. We can't even focus on that. We so indoctrinated into this lifestyle that to break that chain is almost impossible. Mm-hmm. It is almost impossible. There's only a few of us that's doing it, and we fight people like, nah, man, this is our family. You know what I'm saying? Like what Rosa Parks said, most people are like, I'm not running mass, I'm gonna do this. They so indoctrinated into what the reality is now that they don't want to change it. They too scared. What comes with the change is unknown. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to deal with the unknown. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to take the chance on saying, okay, we can do this. This is our own thing. It's very hard. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It takes a lot process, man.
What can we expect coming up from Mysonne as far as like whether music, whether it's activism, mm-hmm. what can we expect, and how can, like I said, how can we try to push, like you don't understand. I mean, just having this conversation, I feel enlightened. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like people like us, we need to back people like you, because you have a voice and you have an audience, and we need to find out any way that we can help you and the next person, anyone else. What is next for you, and what can we do?
Well, the first thing is what we can do is we have to continue to elevate. Like, that's why I respect your brother here, you know? Mm-hmm. Because the people that came there, whatever, came to support me. Mm-hmm. You know, we got to continue to support the people that love you and support and put them in a higher regards. I have this conversation with a lot of DJs and industry people all the time. They come up to me like, yo, I love what you're doing, I love what you stand for. And I'm like, then you need to give me the opportunities and the resources that you extend to those people that are destroying us. Put me on the same stage as I'm not asking you to, because I've earned that. You know what I'm saying? I believe that I put my resume, my work, the body of work that I put together has earned me the opportunity to stand on the stage next to all of these people that is putting music out that's detrimental to our survival. Mm-hmm. And you know that. You know that, but you just going along because, you know, it's a numbers game and this is the people that want it. Nah, sometimes it has to be balanced. Mm-hmm. You have to create the balance. Mm-hmm. It's not gonna just balance itself out. It's not gonna just be like one day people ain't heard Mysonne and they gonna call it, yo, we need Mysonne's ready. No, you gotta, the same way that you take one of these records and you program and you throw it into the mix, and you make 1,000 times, you make people pay attention. You gotta do that with music of mine if you say you support me. Yeah. But if you don't, then cool, I get it. But don't say you support me, but you don't want to give me the same opportunities and the same stages of the people that's destroying us. Because my mission is to try to help us. You know what I'm saying? So if you aboard my mission, a part of my mission, then you got to do the things that's necessary for us to win. So what I say is, like, y'all, continue to support me. Tell somebody, like, that's what happens on Instagram or Facebook, and people sharing music. They sharing it with everybody. And sometimes you don't even want to hear it. You like, how many people gonna share this? Let me look at it. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So we got to be intentional about the people that we support. We can't just, oh, I like this person. Nah, we got to send it out in your phone to all the people you know, because that's how we spread the awareness. That's how we spread the message. That's how we put the people that we support in a position to do what they need to do. You You know what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna keep doing what I need to do, and I just need the people that say they support me to really support me. Don't support me and don't text me and be like, yo, I mess what you doing, but you won't put it on your Instagram.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But you'll put somebody else on Instagram that ain't talking about nothing, but you'll text me and seem like, yo, I love everything you're doing. But I'm saying, but why not promote it? Why not let the world know that you love what I'm doing?
You know how much people I see in the street, they be like, yo, I love what you're doing. I'm like, all right, so if you want me to keep doing it, you gotta spread the word.
Right. Or even, how do you know, or how do I know that you support me?
Exactly.
Like, oh yeah, I see it on your post, but did you like it? Did you comment?
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be consistent. Like with me, I watched over the last year, so what I'm doing just grow. You know, and it was being persistent and consistent with what it is. It's saying like, win, lose, or draw, this is what I am. If I'm not gonna win doing it, cool, but I'm gonna be consistent with it. This is what I stand on, this is what I believe in. And it's slowly but surely is breaking down barriers. It's a slower process when you're doing it based on, you know what I'm saying, when you're based on
like you said,
authenticity. It's very hard, you know what I'm saying, when you're doing based on authenticity. So whatever comes with it, I'm with it. But every time people ask me, like, just support, like really support. You would be surprised at the people that come up to me and be like, yo, love what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Legend, this and that. But you won't promote nothing that I'm doing, but you'll promote something that somebody else doing. And then there are those who do. You know what I'm saying? But shout out to my man DJ Scratch, who went on his page and put up the post and was like, yo, do y'all see what this man is doing? Like all of us as DJs, we need to back this man. We need to put together a project, legend, and make sure, because he is detrimental. He is what this era needs. He is what music needs for us. Like we can't just ignore what this man is doing. And that was heartfelt and it was real for me. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what we need to do. Because the people who don't care nothing about us is doing that. They support the suckers. Support the sucker. I tell people that all the time. You can't beat them when the suckers support the suckers, and you saying you real in this, and you not gonna support. You know what I'm saying? You just saying, yo, I mess with you. Yeah, then go out and buy something. Go out and tell somebody else. You know, do something that's gonna show that you mess with me. Don't just mess with me because you see me and give me a handshake. You know what I'm saying? But what happens is we get so jaded and we just think automatically it's just supposed to happen. You know, if I think I'd like you in my mind, so I think other people will. You know what I'm saying? But that's not what happens in this era. This era is about you spreading, you know, and you making it spread. Like if things gotta go viral. You know, this is where we are. You know, that's why I go on the internet, because I realized I was like, I ain't doing this internet shit, but I'm saying to myself, I have to. Because the suckers is using the internet and they spreading the message. So people are winning by default. They winning because we don't even want to compete. How are we gonna win if we not even competing? So I'm figuring out, all right, I'm gonna utilize the same thing that y'all using to poison us, to enlighten us. I'm gonna keep on doing it until gradually we turn the curve, and then, you know, it becomes the new trend. It becomes the new thing. You know, we become the new cool.
That's it.
You know,
that's it.
I put the post on my page a couple of weeks ago. Like, if I was talking about, I was like, if Jay or Nas or one of these people publicly came out to back me, you know what I'm saying? If I had that type of support, then I know what I could do with this. Like, I know what I could do. You know, I think Jay is the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you look at where he's come from, what he's turned that into, and what he continues to do for the culture, you know what I'm saying, even off the books or whatever, how he supports civil rights groups and what he's done for Trayvon Martin, what he's done for, you know, the Khalif Browders and, you know, those things like that, what he's done to help Meek Mill, like, just, he does things silently. He's not the most talkative person, but he definitely supports a lot of stuff. You know, and I think his influence on music is that good. I just think it's a lot I think it takes a lot for him to just come out publicly. I think where he's moved kind of a lot away from music as he used to. Like, he probably has his ears to the tree. I'm sure he's heard and he's listened because a lot of people around him, you know what I'm saying? Like, Emery is real cool with me.
Shout out to Emery Jones.
You know what I'm saying? He'll DM me all the time. We got his number. I call him or hit him up, text him, like, hey, what's going on? He knows what's up. You know, Tata, ran into Tata in a Halloween party last year. You know, I didn't even know it was him. He was walking by me and he stopped me in the middle of the floor. And he took his mask off and was like, yo, man, I just want you to know, like, I support and love everything that you're doing, like for real, like that's like genuine. You know what I'm saying? So I know he's hearing it because the people that's directly around you like that is him. I just don't know what it's gonna take. I don't know what it's gonna take for him to be like, you know what? Let me get this. I sat down with Lenny S. That's my man. I grew up with Lenny. You know what I'm saying? So we trying to figure out something. That would be that to me would be ideal for me.
Yeah.
Ideal. It would be when you have that type of backing in the same, and they put you in on those platforms.
That's
so we're able to do it. You know, that would be what it is. But if it doesn't, I still respect him. You know, for what he's doing. I gotta just figure out my own way. If that's not, if that's not a thing, I don't have a problem with continuing to grind. As long as people like y'all support me, and I'm able to continue to organically grow my fan base and my following and be authentic and genuine. I'm not paying for followers. I'm not doing that. I want the people who love me to love me. And the people who don't, cool, and I can respect that. But I'm gonna stand on what I stand on. I gotta, I have a mission. My mission is to make sure these kids don't suffer the same things that I suffer, and to still give you music that you can enjoy. You can enjoy it. You can pay attention to it. You know what I'm saying? That's what I grew up on. I grew up on Nas and Jay, to where they made you think. Even when after you danced, you thought about, damn. You know what I'm saying? You heard what he said, and it made you, search yourself and think about it. You know what I'm saying? So that's the music that I want. I need for me. And I'm not saying nothing is wrong with anybody else's music, but it has to be a balance. I think that right now music doesn't really have that balance. So I'm just gonna continue to do what I do.
Because when you gotta think about it. We keep doing what we doing, right? 20 years from now, 15 years from now, 10 years. At least our kids have what we're doing now. Because if we stop now, then they're going to be trying to do what we're trying to do, and then it's going to be even harder for them. You know what I mean? So we got to be willing to make that sacrifice, and I'm willing to do it. I know you're willing to do it.
As we wrap it up, we want to thank you, Mysonne.
Thank you, man.
Coming through. This was very enlightening. I think this message is going to be spread to the masses. And you caught it here. For the home of the creative artists, Dmtsradio, collaboration Rejuve, shout out my man French, and we here, man.
Come out and support Dmtsradio, man. Especially if you out in Connecticut. This is some place that's for you and by you. So come out here and really support, man.
You heard it from the men themselves.
Can't wait. Don't wait till they blow up and then say, "Oh, yeah, nah." Build with them from the bottom, man. Come out here and organically help your own town, your own people that's doing something for you, bro.
Definitely. And before you go, just give some advice to the youth out there, man, to the people that's watching.
Listen, man. What I would say is find your purpose. Sometimes your purpose is the thing that comes so easy to you that you don't even realize it. And that's one of the most important thing. The difference in you from everybody else is usually something that teeters on your purpose. So when you find that thing and you just nurture it, you'll never work a day in your life. It becomes so comfortable and natural for you that it's like breathing. So when you find that, everything else becomes crystal clear to you. So don't try too hard. Sometimes somebody say, yo, you really do something good, don't fight it. Go with that and see where it takes you, because that's what it is for me. It's like I found my purpose. Music and enlightening and elevating. It's what I do. So it's not a job. I never work a job in my life. You know what I'm saying? I feel so comfortable in my skin. I wake up, I sleep good at night. You know what I'm saying? So when you do that, everything else is gonna follow.
Dope. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you a lot.
We out of here.
Yes, I'm here. I ain't come to play with them.
Not at all.
Not at all. Real niggas got the ball now. NY was good. Real niggas, what up? If I offend you, then I meant to. New York, stand up. You should be standing up right now, like I am. You hear this beat? You know what this is, what it represents. Yeah, welcome to New York City, the Empire State, where the entire state is trying to acquire cake. You either buying or you supplying weight, where the unarmed blacks get shot down by the jakes. It's time to educate and separate. Heavy from the featherweights, underdog winners from losers, you niggas celebrate. Couple brand movers from dudes that's really selling weight. Ones who get told what to do from ones who delegate now. Let's set it straight. it's levels to this shit. And I'm a 5-star general, I got medals for this shit. You see, I was in the field when the game was about principles, and gangsters didn't take no pictures or do interviews.
It changed.
This shit is new. Everybody wasn't selling, yeah. You couldn't put work on the block with no resume. You couldn't just walk outside and just hustle. You had to be about that life and you paid the muscle. See, in the jungle, the soft got extorted. Crimes amongst gangsters never got reported. Nowadays, the gangsters do crime and they record it. The game is fucked up cause the lines done got distorted. It all started when the snitches got glorified. When they ain't killed Alpo after Rich Porter died.
Alpo
He made a
is a
movie
snitch.
about Frank Lucas. I was mortified.
He's a
Y'all niggas
snitch.
rode that wave like a
Somebody
water ride.
say
So
it.
y'all decided that this fake shit was real. When snitches came home and y'all embracing them still, ratting the G
Buying
in the
them
same
dinner.
place and they could chill after he violated the codes that should've got him killed. That's when I said chill, y'all can keep the game. It's no more rules, the players just ain't the same. Prices too high, they stepping all on the cane. Everybody playing, nobody don't know they lanes. It's a shame, the center's running point. So-called killers is telling they running point.